Okay, so praise be to Allah. Welcome to Stepping Stones Online Education Group LLC school-wide parent conference meeting. The agenda today is what is Stepping Stones Online Education Group LLC, which will be presented by myself, Sister Gina Tay, in the know as a HS parent learning coach, presented by Sister Pamela. Keeping your child plugged in to nurture their success, which will be presented by Sister Kadira. My journey as an HS parent and instructor will be presented by Sister Rhonda. Parent learning coach participation and partnership presented by Sister Cherie. And then afterwards, we will take questions and answer session. Please, at this time, please pull out pen and paper so that along the way throughout these presentations, you may write down any questions or notes that you may have, because at the end of the day, it's not just about presenting, it's about everyone walking away with their hearts and minds clear, with a great understanding of how stepping stones can benefit your child, how stepping stones can help benefit you and your walk as a learning coach or a parent, and how you can help us and help your student. So please write down all that you can, any questions, and you can go ahead and write down who you would like to direct that question or comment to, so that the correct person can get your answers or concerns answered. Okay, and again, we will start with myself. I'm always slower than I would like to be with the sharing of my screen, so I apologize for that. Okay, Stepping Stones Online Education. What is Stepping Stones Online Education Group? What do we provide exactly? So we tend to do an orientation at the beginning of the school year, giving a quick gist of what Stepping Stones is and what Stepping Stones is about. A lot of our parents who are new, is your first year, most of the time we do you do a one-on-one consultation with myself, and I give you a roundabout way of explaining what it is that we do here at Stepping Stones. But along the way, I have almost figured out that we still don't have a clear understanding as a whole. So in order for us to move forward in unity, I want to revisit these two questions. What is Stepping Stones Online Education Group? What do we provide? Okay, so Stepping Stones Online Education Group is an online homeschooling group. Homeschooling is legal in all 50 states of the U.S. All homeschooling parents have the ability in the U.S. to participate or sign up for a homeschooling group or co-op. A homeschooling group or co-op is a group of homeschooling families with homeschooling students who meet for class instruction, projects, and activities. Homeschooling fees and or tuitions are taken to accommodate the instructors administrators, and activities, excuse me, of the group or the co-op. Homeschooling groups usually also have homeschooling support groups. Our homeschooling support group is the PTSA, which is the Parent Teacher Student Association, to assist parents with meetups, fundraisers, and off-site activities. SSOE is dedicated to offering the following to each family. Stepping Stones offer classes that will assist in your students' homeschooling core subjects and some additional classes. Stepping Stones Online will provide instructors for every class we offer. Stepping Stones Online will provide instructors for every class we offer. These instructors will provide lesson plans, class instructions, assignments, and concepts of knowledge for the classes they teach. The instructors will record grades in our grading platform that will determine your child's progress in the class of instruction. Stepping Stones provide records, assessments, and transcripts that will reflect your child's progress throughout the year at Stepping Stones. Stepping Stones is dedicated to offering the following services for elementary classes, kindergarten through fourth grade. All core subjects: general math, language arts, reading, science, geography, Islamic studies, and computer science. Stepping Stones will provide or offer the following services for middle school classes, grades 5th through 8th grade: general math or pre-algebra, language arts and reading, Spanish, science. The type of science will rotate yearly, okay? World geography, government, U.S. history, world history will also rotate yearly. Islamic studies, computer science. Each grade will be taught using a general standard curriculum that we have put together, that the school has put together to make sure that we cover all the core basics that is needed, but also wrapped into STEM, project-based learning, Black history, Nation of Islam history. All of that is wrapped into our general standard curriculum. Stepping Stones is dedicated to offering the following services for high school: 4 years of Islamic studies, 4 years of English, 3 years of science, 4 years of math, 4 years of history, 1 year of health, 2 years of Spanish, 2 years of computer science. High school services continue. We have online assessments, college resources, transcripts of classes through Stepping Stones Online Education Group. After this year, this is very important to parents who have upcoming, this is very important to parents who have upcoming students, okay? After this year, we will no longer offer transcripts for courses not taken with Stepping Stones Online Education. We will always provide transcripts of what we have been involved with in your child's educational career. Anything before Stepping Stones will be the parent's responsibility, okay? Individual counsel sessions with seniors. Once all state qualifications for homeschooling are met, we provide seniors with a high school diploma. Parents' responsibilities. All parents at Stepping Stones Online Education Group should take the following steps in order to be successful in their parent homeschooling career. Make sure you know your homeschooling regulations in your state. We advise you to adhere to your state's regulation or work with your local legislator to change them. Parents are responsible for signing their child up for any state required testing that may be asked of your child in your state. Parents are required to add on any state required classes that Stepping Stones do not offer. Parents are responsible for keeping records of all information SSOE send to parents throughout their students' career. So what that means is we're gonna always send you a record of their grades, which is their report card. We're gonna always have their portfolio of work that they've done in our Google Classroom. All of this is going to always be available to you, but it is your responsibility to keep up with it so that you may, if needed, provide the information that you need in your state to be legally homeschooling your child. I apologize. All parents at SSOE should take the following steps in order to be successful in their parents' homeschooling career. Did I go over this? I'm sorry, my husband called, threw me off. Okay, I'm sorry, let me go back. All parents at Stepping Stones Online Education should take the following steps in order to be successful in their parent homeschooling career. Parents are responsible for assuring their students' assignments, projects, and additional work is turned into the specified platform. Parents are responsible for their student being present in class with the necessity materials to be successful in their class. Parents are responsible for physical education and elective classes to be provided. Someone needs to mute, please. Parents are responsible for physical education and elective classes to be provided outside of Stepping Stones Online Education that may be regulated within their state. We do provide a form of PE for our elementary students, but in the event that your state is requiring more, then we ask that you do what is needed in order to provide what the state is requiring. Parents are responsible for in-person meetups and field trips that may interest the child and family. Parents are responsible for communicating with local schools and state boards as it relates to any information regarding your student legally or otherwise. We support you and your student in this journey of homeschooling. We believe that this method of education removes any barriers that may attempt to reveal itself. This gives all students the opportunity to graduate with early college degrees before 18 and even experience more in the academics of STEM and arts. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Again, if you have any questions, please make sure that we write them down because we want to be able to address any questions that anyone may have. So at this time, I would like to get ready to invite Sister Pamela X to present and bring up her presentation. She is a SSOE parent and she has been a parent for 2 years now, and she wanted to just share some of her wisdom of how Sister Rosanna, when she graduates with SSOE this year, she will graduate with an associate's degree along with her diploma from us, and all of the academic progress that she has made with us and without us. So without further ado, I'd like to present Sister Pamela for her presentation. Thank you all for listening.
Assalamualaikum.
Blake Salam, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to bring up my presentation. Okay, can you all see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm basically just going to build from what Sister Gina Tay just gave in her presentation, but it'll only have the visuals to go along with it. Her emphasis was constantly the parents, the parents, the parents. Well, I didn't know that it was the whole responsibility of the parent because I was one who the teachers were actually leading for me. It wasn't until the teacher determined that she was going to go back and work for the school board that I had to then take the lead and start submitting paperwork and dealing with the homeschool office and getting involved, getting classes. So I just want to share with you all what it is that I eventually had to do. And like Sister Gina Tay just said, if there are any questions, feel free to ask at the end. My perspective is going to come from Florida because that's where we live at. That's where I'm living. Okay, so getting ready for homeschool. The notice of intent to homeschool. This is the first step in pulling your child out of the public school or private school and bringing them into a homeschool setting. So the homeschool office requires that you submit this right here. So I just wanted to read it because this is something that I didn't read. When I first signed the intent notice, I was doing it because the teacher told me to do it, but I never went to the website and actually looked at the homeschool website to see what my responsibilities were. So it says the home education program is in receipt of your notice of intent for Rosanna Williams, which is my daughter. Home education is a parent-directed educational program. So parents need to do research as to which program is best catered to meet the educational needs of their child. This office has no regulation over what a parent does in their program. Also, we do not provide books, teachers, courses, or evaluations for any home educated student. It is the responsibility of the parent. In addition, there is no record of grades for students enrolled in a home education program. As a reminder, it is the parent's responsibility to submit the annual evaluation on an annual basis as per Florida statute. The annual educational evaluation is due by the anniversary date of the student's enrollment as specified in the Florida statute. Failure to provide an annual evaluation places the home education program in non-compliance and permits the superintendent to terminate the program. Well, that actually happened to me. I had for so long been dependent on the teacher to tell me when it was due until it was dropped. And I didn't know that I was out of compliance because they never notified me that it was out of compliance. But the reason was because at the anniversary, you must submit grades to the homeschool office in Florida. If you don't, they drop you. At the anniversary date, if the grades aren't in, they'll send you one notice. And if that notice goes unaddressed, your child is no longer in a homeschool status. I found out when I was trying to register my daughter into another county, and that's when I found out that she was out of status in Dade County. After enrolling your child in the homeschool education program, the first step is the county sends you a Florida, and like I said, in my situation, Florida, a home education verification letter. So if you didn't get a homeschool verification letter giving you the from date that you initially put your child in homeschool, you should go back to your homeschool office and make sure that you get it, because this is what you'll need if you want to take your child out of homeschool and enroll them in a private school or put them in public school. You'll need the homeschool enrollment verification. Each state has different processes as to how it is that they process it, but this is how Florida does it.
Again, thank you, because I just wanted to reiterate, this is specifically for Florida. So what that means is it's important for us to find out what our state requires. Florida is one of the most strictest state to homeschool through. Whereas Texas, where I'm from and where Brother Musa, who graduated with us, was residing, it's very easy in Texas because Texas is a rogue state, right? So it's like you want to pull your child out, fine. You know, we don't need any records, we don't need anything. Just when you finish, give them a diploma. Now that's me exaggerating, but they do require 4 years of this, 3 years of this, but I just said that to say we must have knowledge of what they require in our individual state. Thank you, Sister Pamela. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And praise be to Allah. Okay, so the next step would be to know what your state requirements are when it comes to graduation. On the left, she needs 4 years of English, and the English has to be in composition, reading, for information, and literature. So she needs 4 credits for that. In math, she requires 4 credits. And if you notice, it has 2010, 2011. Well, this was the last time that this actual requirement was actually updated. So each year is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th for the math. So she needed 4 credit. She needs 1 credit of each one, but it actually tells you algebra for that first, the 9th grade, it has to be algebra or equivalent to algebra or geometry. And then each year it tells you exactly what it has to be. And for science, she needed 3 credits. For social studies, she needs 3 credits. And then it has the breakdown telling you how it works. 1 has to be in world history, 1 has to be in United States history, a half has to be in economics, and a half has to be in United States government. The fine arts, she needed 1 credit. And then physical education, she needs 1 credit. And she needs 8 elective credits. So in order to graduate, she needs a total of 24 credits with a GPA of 2.0 on a 4.0 scale or its equivalent. Okay, so the next one is building the transcript from the 9th grade to the 12th grade. So like Sister Gina Tay mentioned, anything outside of Stepping Stone Online, it has to be a part of the transcript because it's a part of her curriculum or what it is that she's taken to meet the requirements that Florida says that you have to have in order to meet their graduation standard. Okay, so on the left here is the report card, her 9th grade report card. And then on the right is the transcript that the teacher gave, but in the 9th grade, she became dually enrolled. And she was with a New Paradigm Educational Center. So every grade that she got while she was there, a transcript was built from it. On the right is the homeschool transcript. And it basically is a reflection of what her first report card, final grades for her 9th grade report card. The second one is Supreme Wisdom Education Center, where I worked with, she worked with the math doctor. And she did all her math with him. Every math class that she basically took, in addition to maths that she's taken with Stepping Stone Online, but he gave transcripts. So these grades also goes as a part of her transcript. Okay, and then here are the classes that she's taken with Stepping Stone Online. And to the left is the report card, and to the right is the new report card that she's currently in. So every class that she's taken, it has to be itemized on the official transcript, the overall consolidated one. Okay, then dual enrollment is optional. It's optional, but it's advantageous. So we took advantage of it when she was in the 9th grade because it was ideal to do it. We don't have to pay for classes. We don't have to pay for books. We don't have to pay for testing. If she wanted to take the PERT test to see where she was as far as her knowledge, skills, and abilities in math, science, and social studies and English, she could take it, and it's free of charge. They'll give in Florida, they give you a voucher to go and take that test. But throughout her whole high school experience, I've always paid to get her tested for the SAT. And that's one of the ways that I would submit to the homeschool office her grades based on where she was, because it tests on not just one subject, but it's an overall battery of tests. So I would use that every year before her anniversary and submit it to the homeschool office, showing that she was promoted to the next grade. Because if you don't have a record to give to the homeschool office saying what grade your child is in, they don't know. And if you miss the deadline to submit that, and like I said, you'll end up becoming terminated and you won't know that you've been terminated. So trying to get back on par and making sure that your child is ready for graduation, it'll be hard because you'll have to account for all the classes that they've taken. And if you're not tracking, you won't know. So dual enroll, if you want to enroll your child in a local college as a dual enrolled student, meaning you get high school and college credits, you must enroll through your preferred college that offer homeschool dual enrollment and follow the process on the website. Once you've completed that, your child homeschool office will email you a dual enrollment verification form so that you can begin registering your child for the classes. And then again, keep in the process, the school that my daughter's actually attending is Miami-Dade, but she does Miami-Dade College and she does Broward College. It doesn't matter which one, and whichever one has the classes, she can enroll in both. Okay, and then this is the printout from the website showing what she had to do in order for us to be homeschooled and duly enrolled in college. So on the website itself, it actually gives the homeschool office address where you have to go and submit your paperwork to in order for your child to eat. That's the first step. The child has to be homeschooled. You have to have that verification certificate saying that they're under homeschool education. And then you just follow the 6 steps. And once you complete the steps, then the college will get back with you. And then the homeschool office in the college, the college actually has a homeschool department. And then they deal directly with the homeschool office. So once they finish, getting the registration and ensuring that the child is ready for homeschool as far as the grades go, then they'll notify you, the parent, letting you know this is your verification for her to continue to do homeschool, and dual enrollment, and then homeschool dual enrollment, and then from there your child can start registering for classes. And this is the verification letter that the homeschool office will send to you. It went from just homeschool enrollment to homeschool for dual enrollment. So now you have access to colleges as well as your homeschool that you're doing as a parent.
And I also wanted to add that I have been working with Sister Melva with Elevated Places, and she informed me that Texas also have free dual enrollment for high school students. All you got to do is go to the community college and go to the homeschooling department, and they will get you started. So those who have asked me about dual credits and early college, it's nothing that Stepping Stones have to do. It's the initiative that the parent have to take. It's the steps that the parents have to take to make sure that your child is able to enroll in free college courses. But as Sister Pamela reminded me earlier, if your child is not going to do justice by the early enrollment, you might want to consider whether or not you want to do it, because what will happen is they will join or sign up for college and already be on probation because they played around with early college when they was in high school, if that makes sense. Go ahead, Sister Pamela.
Good point, Sister Gina Tay. Okay, so if your child does not exhibit self-discipline, they're self-motivated, and they care about what it is that they want to become in the future, do not enroll them in homeschool and dual enrollment for college credits, because whatever grades they make, if they have withdrawal, whatever they make in school, in college, if they drop the class, it follows them. So 5-6 years down the road, they determine that they want to go back to school. If they started out on academic probation, because they still have, it's a record. So on the matriculation form, which I'll show at the end for Florida, it actually lets the parent know that you are that child's still parent, and you still have to parent and ensure that they make it through the classes that they've registered for. And in Florida, we don't pay for classes. We don't pay for anything when it comes to dual enrolled with the college credits. We don't pay for anything in the college area. We do pay though when it comes down for the extracurriculum stuff, not through the school, but anything that you want to do outside of what the school doesn't offer. And I'll explain that as well as we go on. Okay, so this is a consolidation of my daughter's transcript, her high school, including the college classes on here as well. For every 3 credit college credit she get 1 high school credit.
Does that include SSOE? Is that on there too?
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's itemized. I have everything where if it was done with Stepping Stone on education is listed. If it was at the Broward College, it's there. If it was with Supreme Wisdom, it's there. I listed it right up under the class itself.
Praise be to Allah.
So praise be to Allah. Okay, so and then if the on the transcript of the national test scores, if they've taken the SAT, if they've taken the PERT, you will put that information on there as well. How many credits they have as far as accumulated throughout the entire time that they from the 9th grade up into the 10th, 11th, or 12th, you would have that total of academic credits that they've actually accrued. The official transcripts for the colleges, those go on there as well. So for every English class that she's taken, Florida requires 4. I'm sure she's taken more than that. History, I'm sure she's taken more histories. For the PE, Florida allows you to take a health class. So she took a health class through Miami-Dade. Okay, so on the left is the notice of intent of homeschool education, the form that Florida requires that you complete. So that's the first step in becoming a homeschool student. On the right is the homeschool annual evaluation. On the annual evaluation, if you do not have grades to submit to the homeschool office as far as test scores, you can use grades of things that they've been enrolled in, but you'll need to fill out part 2, section 2, where it talks about the Florida certified teacher. That teacher will look at the work that they've done, and then she would certify that they're capable of doing the work on the next grade level. But you'll have to have her certificate, and you'll have to have whatever scores that she had to look at, or whatever profile she had to look at to make that determination. Then you would submit that to the homeschool office. The recommendation for a matriculation agreement for dual enrolled and home students. This is the one that I was saying that they hold a parent to the same level that they hold a student. And you're saying that if my child failed, I'm all right with that. So they're taking away your right to fight, to say, well, you know, they're homeschooled, you know, that's a lot of work. So this right here takes the make you and your child responsible. And this is what you would go on to the community college or the college of choice and go to their homeschool office, and they'll have you to complete this, and then they'll send this back to your homeschool. But if you're not registered, your homeschool that your child was initially registered at, if they've already terminated you, they're going to return it back and say, I'm sorry, this child isn't registered. They would terminate it back on X date. So that'll cancel you from actually doing that. The dual enroll homeschool placement test. This is the form that I said that this colleges pay for your child to be tested. So you don't have to pay if they're getting tested at the college. Okay, so extracurriculum activity forms. But every child that's in homeschool, they have a homeschool. And at that homeschool, they have extracurriculum activities. They have band, they have music, they have cheerleadings, they have football. If you wanted your child to be a part of that, you would go to the school, go on the homeschool the homeschool website in your county, and they should have these forms on that website. If they want to play an instrument, violin, whatever, the form should be there for them to be able to do that and participate at their homeschool, even though they're not enrolled as a public school student. Thank you all for listening.
Excellent job. Thank you so much, Sister Pamela. And that is exactly why I asked her to present, because she is well organized, and she's actually available to assist parents and helping them to counsel. So if you would like her assistance to help you counsel or to have her counsel you, I'm sorry. At the end, maybe you all can chat via the chat box or take her information. But thank you so much. Beautiful presentation. And if you all notice, you'll hear it throughout this Zoom today that it is important that the parents are very active in this journey. This is not a hands-off journey. This is not a journey where you can log your baby in and they sit in front of the computer and they're going to get everything that they need. It's not that, and even when you do K-12, it's not like that at K-12. It's not like that at I think it's called Coverts, or there's another online private school. It's not like that. It's very hands-on. They call the parents learning coaches. And you're a learning coach because you have to actively take part in what's going on with your child's education. Even if you're public school online education, you have to take a very definitive role in order for your child to be successful. So I'm just gonna, before I even introduce us Kadira, I'm just gonna be very upfront and let you all know that is what I'm begging, asking, and pleading for today, is more of an active role as a parent. We are not doing the students justice not being active in their education. And what's gonna happen is, and down the long run, is going to injure their way of life. It's going to injure their self-confidence. It's going to injure the way that they see education in the future if we don't step up our game. Shout out to Sister Chiquita and Brother Marcus. We were learning some things in their son's third grade math class. And the communication was getting lost on how to exactly teach it to him and what his issue was with understanding, but they played a definitive active role and they stepped in and they said, hold on, let's do a Zoom. Let's figure out how to tackle this. We need that from more parents. We need you all to show up for our students, for your babies. It's needed. Okay, so I'm not here to beat anybody up or make anybody feel like they're not a great parent. All of you all are great parents because you've taken the role to even step out of the circle of what people say is the better education that we know it's not. We commend you for that. We just want to level up. That's all. So I'm going to turn it to Sister Kadira. Thank you, Sister Kadira. She's going to talk about how to plug in that lifestyle for your child, a homeschooling life.
Thank you so much. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am a math instructress at Stepping Stones Online Education, but I'm also someone who went through homeschooling herself. I started homeschooling in 8th grade through a state online charter school, and was homeschooled through that homeschool up until 10th grade. And then in 11th and 12th grade, I did an in-person co-op, among other things. And I'll explain the among other things in a moment. And my sister actually has been homeschooled for most of her life as well. And she's actually going to be graduating as a senior, inshallah, at the end of this coming school year. So my family has been in homeschooling for a long time. And just to give you like some background also about myself, in addition to being a math teacher, I would attribute a lot of my success to how my parents reared me, or all of it really, in terms of where I go today and how much they really followed the Messenger's program and wanted to take this step to be homeschooled, for my sister and I to be homeschooled. I graduated in college at the top of my class with a 3.98 GPA. I got the highest student award that a student could receive from my college. That wasn't just for education, it was how making a spiritual, ethical impact on your campus. I currently, in addition to being a teacher here at Stepping Stones, I also am a youth representative for an organization at the United Nations. So I'm fluent in German, which I started when I was in high school with. I studied Japanese, which I also did in high school. So when we talk about the importance of nurturing your child and understanding what homeschooling is, I wanted to pull from Latin, another language that I took. I actually started in middle school, and educare. That's where education comes from. It means to bring out or lead forth. And so when we talk about education, it's not just the aspect of having your child go onto the computer every day on Monday through Friday, log on, do their homework, and that's their whole life. That's an important part, and to emphasize what Sister Gina Tay said earlier, what Stepping Stones provides a foundation on not just the basic requirements that states require, but also things that we know in the teachings we need to be successful. We need reading, we need writing, we need mathematics. Those things are foundational to who we are in order to grow as human beings. But sitting in front of a computer and doing homework isn't the only thing that a child needs. Remember, we have to nurture their body, mind, and spirit as well. And so when we talk about that, one of the things when I grew up in the homeschooling community I grew up in, which was in Virginia primarily, a lot of what they emphasized was nurturing your child's passion and purpose. That was a big thing in the homeschooling communities in Virginia. And in Richmond specifically. And so my question for you all is, do you know what your child is passionate about? Like genuinely? Or does your child even know what they're passionate about? Especially in this modern age of technology, a lot of times a lot of our children are on social media doing video games, and those things are not intrinsically bad, but if you're not nurturing other parts of your child outside of that, unless they find their purpose and maybe they want to create a video game, which is a legitimate thing, then it's important to help. This is your time to nurture that in your child and help them and lead them to finding their passions and finding their purpose. And so when we talk about nurturing that passion and purpose, that's where homeschooling is really, really cool. Because especially with being in a co-op, you're not limited to just what Stepping Stones offers. When I was in high school, the co-ops that I went to, I did my physics, I did my pre-calculus class there, etc. But there was actually other co-ops out there. There was an art co-op there was an art teacher who taught homeschooling students. We found the art co-op. I took art for 2 years through her. She's an amazing art teacher. I also did basketball and volleyball because even before homeschooling, I was playing basketball. And that was something that was really important for me to continue doing. So there was actually a basketball homeschooling community that played against other teams. It was a league. And we went to, there were tournaments. Our team ended up getting second place in my last year with that basketball team. And in a tournament, like I said, I played volleyball. I did saxophone for a semester because that was something I did before homeschooling and I got kind of off of it. And so I wanted to get back into it. So I started taking saxophone lessons. And you know what that was? My music class on my transcript was those saxophone lessons with the private teacher. basketball, volleyball, that was my PE. The art class was on my transcripts. I went to Japan, and that was actually one of the things that, because of I was homeschooled, I was able to spend a lot of time fundraising for. And my family and I did not have a lot of money, but there was a student program where I was offered to go on, and it was a few $1,000s. So a large chunk of my time that year was actually spending time reaching out to different organizations and people and fundraising and getting money for that. That became my marketing and communications class because I learned an actual life skill from that. And praise be to Allah, and I'm going to Japan, and that program allowed you to get high school credits. So that was also, that trip 2 weeks was my social studies class. And then I came back and I really wanted to learn Japanese. So I couldn't find, it took me a while, it took like a year to find a Japanese program. And that's another thing I want to mention, is that this doesn't necessarily, I'm not going into the journey necessarily of finding these things, because it can be, especially if you're new to the homeschooling community, that can be very difficult to actually find these things. That's where the parent comes in. And that's why it's important, because you have to take the time. If your child says, I want this, we have to use our creative mind and figure out, how can we get this for them? Saxophone lessons. In Virginia, at least at the time, it was more difficult to get into the sport. They allowed you to go into the sports teams and everything, but it was like jumping through hoops. So we ended up finding a homeschooling community for that. So it took a long time. It took us a few months to find an actual homeschooling community that offered the basketball and volleyball. And for my Japanese class, it took a year until one day Allah just brought it. I don't remember how, but he brought to my attention that I think I saw a flyer or something, but there was a college that offered one semester every year free classes for any high school student. And they offer Japanese. And so I did my 2 semesters of Japanese. The first one is free, and the second one my parents paid for. And that was in addition to still learning German with my German teacher, by the way. And I had a private tutor for German, and I took German classes. But the point I'm making is that you can get very creative, but the most important thing is, do you know what your child is passionate about? And if they're spending most of their time just doing school and on their phones or on their computers playing video games or something, then we're not doing right by our child to bring something out of them and lead them forth. Have have a serious conversation with them and ask and say, okay, what can we do? My sister, she doesn't necessarily do after school activities, but she models. She wants to do modeling. So she's in a modeling program right now. Actually she graduated from the modeling program, and now she's going to do part 2, inshallah, in the summer. So although she didn't necessarily do the same extent after school activities that I did, she's doing things that she's interested in. She's doing a modeling program. She has a job. So, there's different ways, and especially because being an online school, how can you get your child out the house? Make friendships, right? That's an important part of your child's experience, is developing those friendships. Now, I talked about the physical. Now talk about the spiritual, the mental as well. The mental part is your child happy genuinely right now? Because that will affect their school experience. When you go to work, do you perform well when you're unhappy? And these are things where it's very important to
Good point.
You have to be in tune with how your child, how are they? Are we checking in on them? What can help them? A lot of times getting out the house and doing, not saying oh, you have to do that. Oh, well, sometimes maybe that required it, but finding out, genuinely asking them what they are interested in and finding the way. If all they say is, I want to play video games, okay, well, get creative. There's probably some video game circles for teenagers out there somewhere. I remember there was a gym out in Virginia where they actually had these video game area, and teens would go out and do that. So okay, let's start there. socializing and getting out the house and doing these things. So the last couple things I'll say on this is even more important than developing your child physically and mentally is developing them spiritually.
Yes.
So that is the foundation for everything else. Are they going out to the mosque? Are you taking them with you? Are you going out to the mosque? Because these are like, if you're not going as frequently or not bring your child, how are they going to develop a love for the teachings if they're not being around it in other ways? Because remember, we're even taught about this, that in the nation, you can have knowledge and understanding of something, but if you're not applying it, then how much you can only get but so deep with it, right? So are you not only, like, I remember the one thing that my parents are very much like whatever my sister and I want to do, right? Like growing up. But the one thing we could not compromise on is going out to the mosque. No matter what, MGT class every week, Sunday lecture every single week, absolutely uncompromising. And on top of that, movie night? Okay, we're going out to the movie night with the believers. There's a fundraiser? Okay, we're going to be part of that. And you're coming with us.
Praise be to Allah.
So those are things like you have to be part of the application process of that. And so my last thing I'll say on this is, as the sister Pamela was saying earlier, you have to find those resources and know the laws of your state. Once you know the laws of your state on these activities, you can find the laws of your state about activities too. Because some states allow you to have your child participate in after school activities in public schools. And in addition to that, look up homeschooling communities in your area. Even better, there are like a lot of stepping stone parents who are in the same area.
Exactly.
Create something together for your children. Maybe one of you, so maybe there's a parent who's an artist. Why don't we do an art class, bring all of our children to your house? This is what white families do who are homeschooling. They come together and they create something if it doesn't exist. This is how the basketball league started, because homeschooled parents came together and created something for their own. That's how my art teacher did it, because she went to different homeschooling circles and said, I have an art class, and she created that for herself as well. So like, you come together and do something. Do your children even know each other? These are like, we have to remember the foundation of our teachings and the importance of unity. You can do this alone, but it's going to be more difficult, especially if you already have people around you doing this with you. Trust me, my family and I were the only homeschooling family at that time. And it was a hard road. So for those who are by themselves, it's a hard road, but it's going to be so, so worth it at the end. And for those who have believers with them, we need to get together and nourish our children in this way. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you. And assalamu alaikum.
Absolutely beautiful job. Wow, Sister Kadira, beautiful, beautiful. I learned things about you that I didn't know. I didn't know you knew German. All praises due to Allah. So I have a surprise for you all next. But before I get into my surprise, I just wanted to say that I try, y'all. Sometimes it don't go over very well, and I apologize for that. But I try to be very transparent. And I know that we're always celebrating everyone's success. But sometimes it's also good to know someone's failure, because their failure can help you to not trip over the same rock that they tripped over, right? Right? And so when I say that, I want to be very transparent and say that one of the things I did not do in my homeschooling career. Now, I'm always talking about, Jayla went to Stanford on an academic scholarship. Jahai went to Prairie View on a scholarship. Now, Jordan's at UNT with a scholarship, right? But on the flip side of that, Sister Kadira, what I did not do in my homeschooling career is I did not take them out to the mosque as much as I should have. Because we get into that rumble of life where, oh, I'm a lieutenant and I got to get there at this time. So y'all stay at the house. Or, me and my husband was a truck driver. So we moved from city to city to city, trying to develop that wonderful home that the children and we deserve to have. But the foundation was shaky because they were not anchored in Islam the way that they should be. And that's me being candid and being transparent to you all. I can see the difference in my homeschooling and the way I did my homeschooling versus the person that I'm about to introduce and how she did her homeschooling. I see it, and though I regret it and wish that I could not, I wish that I could take it back, but I can't. But what I can do is I can share my failure with you so that maybe you won't trip over the same rock. My children are believers, right? I would like to think that, but none of them are encouraged to write the letter. None of them are, because they weren't really there. You see my baby, and one minute she's 4 and the next minute she's graduating from college. Because I was there, I was at the mosque, but the children, not so much. There's so many of them, and they're so spread it out. And I don't have any help because my husband is a truck driver. We can all make all those excuses, but at the end of the day, I could have made a way for them to be present at the mosque. And had I done that, they may be in the mosque at this moment. Do I love them less? Of course not. They still pro-Black and everything. They're just not registered like I would like them to. So the next thing I want to say is, as far as getting them in extracurricular activity and finding out what they love, I want to use my daughter Jordan, my youngest daughter. She, at the age of 4 years old in Dallas, started making bracelets with her beads. And then we moved to Shreveport, and she was making paper dolls with paper clothes, right? And so I saw something in her, and I asked her when we moved to Detroit, Jordan, make me a vision board of what you wanted.
You're muted, Sister Gina Tay.
I'm sorry. When we moved to Detroit, I asked her to, Jordan, let's make a vision board of what you want, of what you love. And lo and behold, it was a vision board of fashion. She loved fashion. And so me and her dad, we started pouring into her, started taking her to workshops in the summer at Michael's. And my mom, may Allah be pleased with her, the best homeschooling supporter, did not agree with homeschooling, but she supported me like she was an advocate, okay? She bought Jordan her first sewing machine. So then Jordan started sewing clothes for her dolls and then started sewing clothes for herself. And guess what? She is about to be 19 years old and just received a scholarship in fashion at UNT.
That's such a full circle moment.
and she just got the scholarship this semester because what she decided was, when she went to UNT, she decided to go into marketing. And me and her dad was looking at her like, marketing? Girl, you don't. Okay. I told Malachi, I said, don't fight her on this. We'll let her find her own way. In 2 weeks in the school, she's like, nah, I'm changing my major to fashion. That's what I really want to do. So always ask them what they want to do and invest in what, no matter how you want them to do something different, because they'll go along with what you want to do, just not to hear you complain. But at the end of the day, when their life starts without you, they're going to be miserable because they're doing what mom and dad want and they're not doing what they want. Invest in what your child wants. Don't let your child be a 40-year-old rapper because you didn't let them be a rapper at 12 years old. Sorry, just a side joke. But anyway, moving right along. The treat that I have for you is this beautiful, intelligent, educated sister who was blessed to be homeschooled by her mother and father, has a mother who also works at Stepping Stones Online Education. And so the treat today is you've seen the reward of her work, right? And Sister Kadira Muhammad. Well, let's hear from the queen, the God herself, who made our Sister Kadira and her sister. Please help me to welcome our next presenter, Sister Rhonda. I
Oh,
feel like Rhonda.
walaikum salam. Oh my God, I don't feel worthy of such an introduction. But I want to first greet everyone in the name of Allah.
You're very worthy, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness there's no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. We thank him for the exalted Christ, the honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we thank him for a reminder that Allah has blessed us to keep in our midst the honorable Muslims Farrakhan. I greet the believers, the family, friends, or whoever on the call, the parents, in the wonderful greeting words of peace and paradise. Assalamu alaikum. And I'm so happy to. I mean, yeah, I really felt a need to be here. I know I had, we were on a break and I need to recover. And then also, I just like it was a fight in myself because there's a necessity for us to move forward. That was more powerful for me than me taking a rest at the moment because of the need. Children, I have a passion for our children and know what our children would need and however I can help. My background was education. I started teaching in 1999. When Kadir was born, she's a little infant, and I started substitute teaching. And then I decided to, okay, wherever she goes, I want to go which grade with her so I can know what she's doing. So I became a teacher. That was the beginning of my journey as an educator. I didn't wake up wanting to be an educator. I was an actress and performer earlier, and I didn't wake up wanting to do that. But that drove me because I wanted to be the first teacher in my daughter's life and give her the understanding she needs because I know the failure. I came to the public school education. I know the failure of the public school education. And I felt there was deficiencies in my understanding and things because I wasn't taught right. And then I did go to college, but when you come to college, it's not fully prepared. You have to work extra hard if you have the passion, desire to overcome any deficiencies, you have to put extra in. And so I had to do that. I did go to school and get my bachelor's and master's in education, then a second master's in educational leadership. Out of the backdrop of trying to find out ways how I can fix things because I was part of that system teaching. And eventually I taught in the university level as adjunct professor and a supervisor of student teachers, which means when they did their clinicals to teach them how to take our children and help them perform better. So I came through those avenues and those times where I was doing that. That's when Kadir had went to the school in Pennsylvania where we were. And then when we moved to have the opportunity to move to Richmond, Virginia, my little one, pretty little, she began school and I homeschooled her from there. And then we moved to Richmond, Virginia. And that's what a challenge because I decided, my husband and I decided that I would stay home and homeschool the children or guide them because they would need that support. And then I wasn't teaching anymore. So income has dropped tremendously. So it was my husband's income, making bean pies and bean soup. but it was a struggle economically, but the struggles were worth it because there's a tape that the minister did, Love and Duty. And the love, he says, love transfer the word of life. You take the I-O out, I in it, and you spell the word life in another letter, you F, life. So, and then love is three things: freedom, justice, and equality. So what kind of freedom, justice, and equality am I giving my children by handing them to someone else to teach them and not being involved with that and guiding them? And so when we went to Richmond, Virginia, we were the only parents for homeschooling. even in my city, in the Black community as well. So it was a lonely journey. And it was almost like we were doing something odd just by doing that. So we were outcasts. But me remembering my foundation and remembering my duty to my children was first and foremost. I refused to get off my post with that. So those things that Kadira got involved with, it took a journey to find those things. So at some point when I felt I couldn't give her certain things when she got to high school, like the physics and all that kind of stuff. But that means I had to sit down and study it, and I still was not getting it because it's been a long time for me. And some math, we found a homeschool co-op. I don't remember how. It was a homeschool co-op in which the class, she would take classes, not the same way we do online here with Stepping Stone, but we would have to physically go to the location. Her class is 1 or 2 days per week. She takes that class and you get all your work for the week and you report back next week. And also Monday as well. The same structure. You're expected to hand the work in this day. So the parent responsibility was to make sure the work was done and hand in. So what I would do with my children, I would drive them. It was all like 30 minutes, 40-minute drive away. Because we get to that co-op. I would go there, sit there with them for those hours that they had to take the class. And then when they finish, take them home, ensure that they do their work and ensure that our connection was a blackboard or something with the teachers. So you'll see all the homework that was involved in what our children had to do. And they expect that work to be done. That's one of they're Christian background, but they respect that you uphold the Christian morals of making sure your work, no different than what we do. The work is done and the child does his own work and the parent would assist, not to do the work for the child, but assist where it was needed. Assist means to ensure that, okay, this is the time we have to do our work. We've had a set time. This is the time we should do our work. And if they didn't understand their work, to assist them by maybe showing them an example, but don't do it for them or don't give them the answers because you're not assisting. You're enabling your child to be successful. Because later in life, when I had to let Kadira go, she was able to handle herself. And whatever she produced and whatever work that you saw was her work and she was successful. When we do our work for our children, you're really handicapping them in their future because at some point they're going to feel inadequate.
That's
and
right.
When they get to college, even more so, children that fall out of college the first year, a lot of times it's because they don't feel they're adequate enough to handle it because the job was not done prior. So ensuring that you assist your child, even testing, ensuring that you don't, as a teacher in Stepping Stones too, I can tell from the child's assessment whether the child did that assessment themselves or not.
Right,
because
right.
Their work, it doesn't add up. If they're scoring a 7th grade work and they are in 4th grade and the 4th grade work is 2nd and 3rd grade, from what I see, I know it's not them as a parent assistant. You are destroying your child's future, destroying your child's self-esteem, and you're also destroying your child's truthfulness. You're making it's a lie. So Minister
and let me say this, Sister Rhonda, thank you so much for bringing that up. Don't be embarrassed. I think a lot of times we're very prideful. Not calling anybody here prideful. I'm just saying as a whole, as a people, we've been beat up so much that we try to cover up whatever we think someone will judge us on. None of us are here to judge any of our children. None of us. Me being transparent again, if any of y'all heard my meeting with Sister Wendy, my oldest son flunked the kindergarten. Don't feel defeated because your child doesn't understand something. We need to know what they don't understand so that we know where to start.
Absolutely.
A lot of times, and I'm not talking about anybody who's here, but I've even experienced it where one of the students in the past, not talking about anybody at Stepping Stones, where the child really graded better than the parent. Once we pulled the parent out and it was like, don't help him or her. Let's see what him or her knows. The child scored better than the parent helping them. So let us find out where they are. I'm sorry, that was a topic for me, Sister Rhonda.
Yes,
let
ma'am.
us find out where they are so that we can move from there.
Absolutely. And I didn't know physics because I didn't remember. High school was a long way away for me. And some of Kadira's math was a long ways for me. So Kadira would go
Jayla too.
Her classes would be at the co-op, and then she would have to get this. I would have to get a tutor for her because I couldn't help her, or ask the teacher for more assistance. I kept communication. One thing I was required to keep communication with the teacher. Now I'm talking about these are a bunch of white folks, very little black, white Christian church. So they get busy and they get things done. So expectation is the parent would be fully involved. Involvement meant that making sure my children do their homework. I had to, one of my youngest daughter, she had a big book to read, was a second grade. And I read it too, because as far as answering the question, she had to answer questions on her, and I would know how it would probe me enough to see, okay, tell me what you understand about the character. Now, if I didn't know the work, I couldn't ask her to say, okay, what does you think the teacher's trying to ask you about this? All right, so to describe the character for me, so I can have a dialogue with her, not telling her the answer, but a dialogue with her to help enrich her understanding of what the topic is. And if I didn't understand what the teacher's asking for, I would contact the teacher immediately because the work was due when it was due. And that's it. It was non-compromisable. If you wanted to stay in that program, you ensure your child. That was part of the ethical part of the program. You make sure the child's work is done. And if it wasn't, then you would no longer be in that school, open for that school. So we have a blessing, a mercy here at Stepping Stones. We take a lot because to try to reinforce the fact that the parents are supposed to assist the children, and the children's work not done. Not enough work is done. And most of the time I find if the student's work doesn't understand work because they didn't do the homework. Because the homework reinforced what I taught in class. So the
homework is always reinforcement. Always. Right.
So it's important that the parent be there for every step. I was here when my daughters had to do her fundraisers. I would go take her to the places that she would speak about her fundraisers to raise money. She was on a radio show to do that, radio talk show, I think it was, to do that. And these came out of me I was physically involved wherever they need to go, knowing where they are in their work. So if I have a discussion with the teacher, I won't not be in the unknown. We have ThinkWay to show us. I had the Blackboard, whatever the show. See, every week I would check to see where we are in her progress, and she's falling lower behind. I could look at what work that she's did, my children did, and have a conversation with the teacher how we can help. If I didn't know how to help, what do you need me to do to help? So your parent involvement is a principal key. You don't leave your children. It's not a drop off latch key where you leave your child, let the work get done, and then you dismiss yourself from it, and you don't know where your child is at work. You should be on it every day, seeing what your child is doing. And if you're a working parent, Jean brought this up, there's learning coaches. Find learning coaches, someone that also in that light, what parents would do if the parent had to work and the children had work to do, parents would get together or someone to get together and ensure that your child's work is done until the parent gets home. But you also have to check behind too. You just can't leave it up to another person. But I was physically involved. I was home every day. I suffered where I didn't have sometimes nice shoes. I had okay shoes. I didn't have the best of clothes. I was a lieutenant, first officer, but I was in the best dress and garment. I had one garment that my white garment I wore for years because our garments didn't fall apart. One white garment I wore and one blue garment. It took me years to get a brown. All right. And I'm the first officer because I didn't have money, because the sacrifice I had to make to ensure that my children get the foundation. Because one day that's going to come back either haunt you or bless you.
That's right.
And I can step back now, and now that my youngest one is 17, she's about to graduate from high school. Last year I had the opportunity to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I wanted to go to culinary school in my 20s. I'm from New York. So back then, you had to, one of the requirements to go to culinary school, you had to cook pork. And I told them I can't do that. So I didn't go. And several times I went back years later, same thing. But last year, Allah blessed me, like a year and a half now, Allah blessed me where this particular culinary school, and I told them what my limitations were. And based on that answer will determine where I go or not. She said, just let them know this religious regions, you can't do this, and you'll be fine. All praises due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
I finished in October 28th, culinary school. I also had an opportunity to go become a master gardener. So I finished my work this year in master gardening, but I had to do my actual on hands portion of it to finish that program, which will be finished by next summer. But though, because of the patience and being okay of not having anything and prioritizing, showing my duty to my children, Allah blessed me to have things that I desired years ago, patiently waiting, and he blessed me to have it now. So love is duty. Your duty to your children is utmost and important. Don't absent yourself from your child to let them make their own way. This is not public school. And the beauty of it, they had the MUI in person. We didn't have a virtual back then. So I had to do my MUI. Every morning we had Islamic studies. And I found my youngest daughter's book that we did before we went to our study in our homeschool, whether it was the co-op, we did Islamic studies for 45 minutes an hour every morning. And I found her old book. I didn't know, I put stuff together. But I look at it now. Now it's a guide for parents now asking me, do you have a curriculum for your child for Islamic study curriculum? I pulled from a book that my daughter's work. I said, boy, I can't believe she knew this. And we studied this. But Allah guided me. You don't always know, and I didn't always know. But I trusted that these were the teachings of Muhammad, and this is what he asked us to do. And your children are first and foremost, and it should be in your life, besides, of course, your husband, and Allah is first. But they are foremost in your life as far as you are responsible for the basic need. And one of the basic needs is knowledge. So you have to ensure we are providing the educational piece for you, free of before when I had to provide it myself and figure it out. But we're providing that for you. Your duty is the next step, and probably a great big step, to ensure that their homework is done, make sure they understand the work state communication with their teacher, and make sure your child's successful, and be there for your child. And watch how Allah bless you. Kadir is a walking billboard example. Allah had blessed me so much. I sit back and just watch her. Now she can leave, and I could just kind of watch a little bit, because those things is instilled with her. So our duty is strong, and it's not an easy road. Don't think it was easy. It was extremely hard at times. But keeping your focus and knowing the end reward, you'll have a great reward by Allah's permission if we do our duty to our children. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. Assalamu alaikum.
Beautiful. All praises due to Allah. Thank you. I told y'all I had a treat for you. All praises due to Allah. And Sister Rhonda, you're right. My daughter is 27. There was nobody out there homeschooling, not Black people. And the fact of the matter is, we had to learn from scratch.
Yeah.
We did sacrifice. I remember my daughter calling my mom crying, and my mom be like, "What's wrong, Juju?" She said, "All we ever have is bean soup." That's all we could afford, because listen, we were homeschoolers, and I had this. I didn't get a blue, Sister Rhonda, till I went to Atlanta in 2016. I had never had a blue, and I still, to this day, I have never had a brown. But I had my white, and I had that white for 12 years. One day, my husband brought home a package, and the sister had helped him order me a garment. That's the reality of homeschooling.
Yeah.
Homeschooling is not a float boat, but me and Sister Rhonda both can bear witness that on the other side is a different student than what you'll ever get in public school.
Ma'am.
And that's just the truth.
Yes.
Obedience is the highest form of sacrifice. And we're obedient to the messenger, to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and follow through the way that they have asked us to execute, it will be well worth it.
Yes,
Are you willing to sacrifice a little to gain a whole lot of blessings from Master Father?
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Sister Rhonda. With that being said, our last speaker, last but certainly not least, is our dear, dear sister, our assistant director, assistant principal, and head lead teacher of elementary. I know the elementary parents been like, when y'all gonna give it up for something for the elementary? Actually, Sister Rhonda did. Sister Rhonda dropped some jewels, and now followed by Sister Rhonda is Sister Cherie. Thank you for presenting today, Sister Cherie. Take it away.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum
salam. I just wanted to come on and let everybody know, what does a learning coach do, what that looks like. In elementary, we need really strong learning coaches, especially with like K through second, because their focus isn't really that strong. So we need you to redirect their focus. So I'm going to go over some things about what a learning coach does and what that looks like. A learning coach is a parent, relative, sibling, or legal guardian who supports a student's education journey at home. By stepping into this role, you can set your student up for success. So, to keep your learner on target. While teachers instruct, learning coaches provide additional structure and support, helping students meet and exceed their learning goals. So that's what we need here at Stepping Stones. We need you to keep your child focused and help them reach the learning goal that we have set up for them. So what to expect? Every student has different learning needs, making your journey just as unique. However, learning coaches are generally responsible. However, learning coaches are generally responsible for I can't say this word. Facilitating the daily learning process. Hours vary by grade, providing ongoing academic support and guidance, keeping their students on track with their work and attendance, communicating and collaborating with the teachers to tailor the learning experience, incorporating healthy breaks and social opportunities. So I do have some problems with my children, K through second. I have to steady call their names sometimes, and that takes away from our class and me giving the children instructions or whatever we may be doing. And I have to keep calling your child back to the camera, and sometimes they don't even come back to the camera for the whole class. Then I have to stop my class, get my phone, text the parents, so on and so forth. So I just really need you all to be there. And I know that some of us are working from home and We have a lot going on, but like Sister Rhonda, Sister Gina Tay, and Sister Kadira was saying, we need you to be there for the student. You have to find a way to get those learning coaches. If you cannot be one, try to find somebody who can be a learning coach to make sure that your child is getting everything that they need to get, that they're not missing out on anything, that when we have projects, it breaks my heart that some of the children aren't able to participate in the project. And it's like I send out an email, I send out a telegram, I send out a text message. I try to do everything that I can do to ensure that all my children are in my class could be in the project. Because again, we're a project-based school, and especially for elementary, we do so many projects, and it's for them to help them learn better. Because children nowadays, they're learning, they need to touch and feel and work with their hands. So I just need these learning coaches to be there and to help the children out. When we come back in January, I know a lot of you all don't like printed worksheets, so we are going to have some I'm going to need you to print some worksheets out this time around. We're not always going to use the workbooks. We do have workbooks, but we are going to have to print some worksheets out. And I do have a problem with that. Sometimes parents don't print out the worksheets. Sometimes parents aren't home to print out the worksheets. So if you all could print the worksheets out a day before, I am going to make sure I have my lesson plans and worksheets uploaded to the Google Classroom on Sunday so that you can print out their worksheets for the whole week on Sunday or Monday morning, just to make it easier and for the class to flow easier for us, if everybody understand what I'm trying to say. And that's really all that I have to say. Thank you for all of you who have been such wonderful learning coaches and being there, making sure your child is in front of their computer and doing what they have to do. I appreciate that and I thank you. That's all I have to say. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you so much, Sister Cherie. I want to thank all of our presenters for doing such an excellent job today. I want to just share some things with you as parents. Number one, we are a project-based learning group. Majority, if not 100% of us, filled out that Google form at the beginning of the school year where it asked if you would participate or if you agree, I believe. If you agree to be a part of our project-based learning, which meant that your child would have projects at least once a week. And if you're on here, you agreed to that, right? And I hear a lot of parents say, well, I didn't see that in the Google form. Please read stuff before you sign it. The next thing I wanted to say is check on your babies, but not only check on your babies, check on your instructors, because your instructor's mentality is important to your child's education, right? And I love each and every one of your children. Like I could go down the line right now and just, when I see the parents' names, I see the children faces. Because I just love all of the children so much. So excited to have Brother Malcolm come back. You know, just I love everything about Stepping Stones and about the teachers, the parents, and the students. We just want to We want to level up. And not just for the parents, but the instructors too. We have work to do on our end too. And our students have work. We all have work to do. That is the blessing of elevating in evolution. So with that being said, if you have any questions, please, 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 please open up your concerns or your questions at this moment.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, like salam, Sister Peggy. How are you, ma'am?
I am more than wonderful by Allah's grace and mercy only. I would like to thank you and the rest of the Stepping Stones team for the presentations. They were very loving and very informative, and I appreciate it. I do have a question, if I might. When you opened up, you indicated that classes not given by Stepping Stones would not be put on the transcript, and I understand that. But what about extracurriculars? So, for example, Malcolm's in an orchestra, he takes violin lessons. How do I, like Sister Kadir was saying, she somehow incorporated that into her grades or into her report card or whatever. Is it possible to do that with extracurriculars, or is there another way? I just do that independently.
Oh, yes, ma'am, there is. So when Brother Malcolm becomes, and here's another tip, not to jump your question, Sister Peggy, because this is something that everyone needs to know as well. Once your student becomes a freshman or enters into the 9th grade, that is the moment that you start working on the transcript. And every year you update the transcript. It is not going to be easy if you wait till your child's senior year to create a transcript. Please start working on the transcript in the 9th grade. Sister Peggy, back to your question. What you'll do is you'll either create it yourself, or there are people who will create transcripts for you. I know one parent was talking to me about Blackstone in Atlanta was going to do her transcript for her senior. And what you'll do is you'll give that person all of the classes that your grandson has taken, and they'll compile it into one transcript. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So if he's taking orchestra right now, what you want to do is you want to grade him yourself, or have his mom grade, Sister Alana grade him herself, and then you'll input that into his transcript at the appropriate time.
Yes, ma'am. That makes perfect sense, and that would go for other classes, like they're taking a Minecraft cybersecurity class. All of that I could do independently.
Absolutely.
Okay, and have their
you'll
instructor.
Give it to the transcript writer, and they'll include it into the transcript. Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I had another question about fundraising.
Yes, ma'am.
The book competition, or the book reading.
Readathon.
Readathon, yes, ma'am. Is that continuing throughout the entire year?
No, ma'am. It ends in January, but when they come back, I'll give you the information.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We'll get them signed up. Sister Tamisha, and then Sister Kadira. Sister Tamisha.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the meeting. It was very informative. But I just, yes, ma'am. But I had a quick question, because my girls, prior to coming to Stepping Stones, they were doing Easy Peasy All in One. homeschool. It's an online homeschool program, and it doesn't have a transcript, but it does have their grades. So I was finally able to log back into it, but it doesn't have a transcript. So I just give you like their grades from their classes, or like, do I need to create a transcript?
So this is my last year doing transcripts for seniors. So I will get with you to do Sister Mia's transcript with you.
Okay.
But for Sister Corey and Sister Aubrey, I love them so much. You have some beautiful girls. Anyway, Sister Aubrey and Sister Corey, you will need to work on Easy Peasy transcript independently. And again, you can get an independent contractor to do it for you, or you can follow what I do with Sister Mia and just kind of go from there with what you see me do.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Oh, and then the other question, the second part of that question was for the volunteer hours. Like, how do we? Are you using like an online portal to track their volunteer hours, or do we just give you like the letters from the companies?
So we can do this one or two ways. You can write a ledger and have someone sign off on it. Like, so for instance, if Sister Mia worked at YMCA and she does 5 hours a week, at the end of the week, she'll write 5 hours YMCA, and whoever her supervisor is will sign off on it. And then at the end of the year, we'll compile all those hours, and it will be a part of her transcript. Because you know, in the state of Texas, it doesn't matter if you're homeschooling or not. You have to have 40 hours of volunteer hours.
Okay.
And I know she has it because she works at the YMCA. So either you can create the ledger or I can throw something together real quick. I need to stop volunteering myself for stuff.
Well, you know what? She has one for the Y, but she's got because they do Girl Scouts too. So they volunteer for different events to like work with the younger girls through Girl Scouts. So they get volunteer hours for that too. So but I just didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I just didn't know if you were tracking them online or if we needed to submit the letters to you.
You can submit the letters, but at the end of the day, if Texas pull my records, they're gonna want a ledger. So have Sister Mia on her downtime, like she have any, but on her downtime, create a ledger and input all the information.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sis Kadira, I know you said you have to leave in 5 minutes. You want to share with me what you want to share, and then Sister Shanika.
I actually don't have any. You pretty much covered it in terms of the transcript thing. The only thing I'll add to it is that when it comes to, especially when it comes to extracurriculars, you can look online on that's really up to also the parent how they see, like, okay, is this worth a half credit or a credit or whatever. My recommendation is just like maybe doing a little bit of research, like what's the average time for music class. You can even look online in terms of like descriptions for music classes too. It's really flexible. Again, it's because this is homeschooling, it is in a sense also flexible to how what your state standards might be or what you might see is appropriate based on, like, if I don't know what stepping stones is, if it's like 1 credit hour per year or something. But if you think, okay, well, my child did a half a year of orchestra, well, then that might be like, 0.5 or 0.25 credit hours, for example. So, looking that up. Also, there is a program, if you don't mind me sharing it in the chat, that is actually a homeschooling defense, like, lawyer program, and they offer transcript services too. Or they did when I was a child. You can ask them to make sure. But when I was a child, at least they were offering transcript services. They probably still do.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you, Sister Kadira. Sister Yamina. Yamina. Sister Shaniqua.
Assalamualaikum. Does it come up, Yamina?
Walaikum.
Okay, I didn't know if the name came up, Yamina. I don't know, but I just wanted to thank the sisters for their transparency, because a lot of times um we're online with our children or whatever, and I know me, I do a split shift, so I'm not home in the mornings, but I come in and Hanif is already engaged in his work or whatever. So, and right now I have to work. It's not even, it's not a choice. You know what I'm saying? So I do the best that I can, with my children, and my children I have been on this journey. My son will be 27. And everywhere we have gone, we have moved. My children were, with someone, rather it was Sister Tiffany, it was with you, Sister Gina Taylor, we was in New Jersey, they were with Sister Alnisa. So they've always been in the environment of, homeschooling or some type of this type of environment. But I thank you, sisters, because the sisters who are teaching my children right now, I don't know. Like, I don't know Sister Rhonda. Like, I don't know her like that. I know Sister Tiffany, I know Sister Gina Tay, but Sister Rhonda, I thank you for sharing your story, and Sister Kadira, for sharing your stories, because it's so, it's enlightening, and it's something that we should know, and it makes it easier to, it just makes it easier on this journey, because I know that we're going through a lot. I know that right now I'm transitioning from one thing to another right now in my life. So it's very, I thank you all for your transparency and your time, Sister Gina Tay, for taking out the time for doing it, to do this, because as these children grow, we're going to need we have to level up. This thing has to grow as we grow. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Sister Shaniqua, and you're right. But things do change in life. Because I remember at one point in homeschooling, I was working as a whole retail manager and trying to homeschool, right? So, and I didn't have a stepping stones or anything like that to assist me. Like, I was getting 0 to no sleep, homeschooling and then going to work, right? So I think once a student get to the age of 3rd grade, yes, we need you present. But at the same time, you can do what you can do. So at the end of the day, you know what's important is at the end of the day, I know we tired. Oh, Allah, I know we tired, because I be tired. So I know you tired. And by the grace of Allah, I don't have any little bitty children in my house anymore. But I can imagine some of you who have 3 students, 4 students, 5 students, and you have to come home and still do this homeschooling thing. Talk to your child and see what's going on in the class. What can you help them with? Check Google Classroom. Check Google Classroom. No parent should not know what's going on in their baby's Google Classroom. Even if you have to go through their email, know what's going on in Google Classroom, because that's where the assignments go. If you don't know what's going on in the class, call us. All of us are available. Sister Norma is good at reaching out. Sister Chiquita is good with reaching out. Sister Shaniqua, Sister Shanice. Majority, can I just say, majority of the people that's on this call is good at reaching out. Reach out to your students, instructor, find out what they need to do. If your child is saying they don't have homework, verify that. So one of the things that I did in homeschooling is I got me a whiteboard and I put it in my kitchen. Any of you all who have homeschooled, whose child has homeschooled with me, Sister Tyra, Sister Shaniqua, Sister Latoya, all of you all can bear me witness that in my kitchen, I always had a whiteboard. And on that whiteboard, it lists everything my children needed to do. And as they say they did it, we scratched it off after I saw that it was done. I know it's tedious, I know it's meticulous, but it's needed. And a lot of times because I truly understand where we're coming from, a lot of times you all who have children in my class know, won't I text you and say, oh, FYI, brother so-and-so haven't turned in, or sister so-and-so haven't turned in. But sometimes I teach 9 classes. Sometimes some of those assignments slip through my fingers. So I need you to help me as I strive to help you, as we both strive to help your student. Does that make sense? I totally understand, because we're living in 2023. I totally understand that it ain't like it was when I was doing homeschooling in 2010, right? Mama and daddy have to work, but at the same time, come home and verify.
You know, what's interesting too that I wanted to share on my journey with this, each of my children are different. And the one thing about Hanif is that I think sometimes I gotta thank Allah for him, because he's gonna learn best. If he was in a school, I would probably be getting calls every day, because he's one that he gonna do his multiplication while he doing backflips outside. He gonna, when I say, you come on, let's just brush up on the multiplication. He's gonna be on a hoverboard. He gonna be on a skateboard. He gonna be, it's very hard. He does a great job in front of that camera, I'm telling you. But once recess come or whatever, he is on a bike up and down the street, and the elders, because it's a lot of elders on this block, they be like, oh, Hanif must got a break today, because they know he home. But your children are different. You have one that can sit in front of the computer for just 5 hours that they're in there, but you'll have another one that's just like, you know what, get in front of the camera. Get out. I'll be like, honey, are you planting trees out there now? You need to be in front of the camera. It's just, you just have different energies.
Mm-hmm.
And I just learned to deal with each one. Like Asaya, she's fine. She goes through college. It's just like, do. But Yamina is, as we know, is more shy. She more closed in. You gotta, like, it's kind of like sometimes pulling teeth to get her to, but once she gets in a rhythm, I guess she's good. But just know your children and know that their energies are different.
I'm sorry,
because it's like,
I'm laughing
okay.
at Sister Yacina said Sophia check herself out of school once a week. You not telling no lies. I looked up, Sophia gone. I'm like, okay, she'll be back tomorrow.
That is real. I understand. It is. This journey has been interesting. That's all I can say about that.
Yes, ma'am. But we have each other, and one thing about love, when you love when you love the sisterhood and the brotherhood, and you truly love these children like you love your own children, we have to be able to correct one another. You all have to feel comfortable correcting me, and I have to feel comfortable saying, Sister Tara, now, this not right. I don't know what's going on with Brother Najee, but this not right. And I need to be confident that you trust me enough to know that if I say, Sister Tyra, Najee, X, Y, and Z, I need to be confident that you trust me enough to know that I'm not just saying this about Brother Najee. And you need to feel confident in knowing that I'm not just gonna say this about Brother Najee, right? We have to trust one another enough to be a village and to be a fence and soldier elbow to elbow to make this thing successful. We have to do it. It's not going to happen any other way. I have people who love me enough who will text me and be like, now, Sister Gina Tay, you sounded like a raging bull over there. You all right today? And I have to say, ooh, please forgive me. And I'll go, sometimes y'all will hear me come on camera and be like, I'm sorry, y'all. I shouldn't have said it that way. That's because somebody has checked me. You know, and I'm not, listen, I don't mind because we're here to help one another and to build this nation. Yes, Sister Yasina. Look, and before you start, Sister Yasina, I got to give Sister Yasina a round of applause because listen, Sister Yasina has come a long way. She has come, I should have had you speak today. She has come from Soraya missing a whole 6 weeks of work and turning everything in before report card day to now I'm shocked when I see something missing from Sister Soraya. Thank you so much for stepping up, Sister Yasina. Now that I embarrassed you.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Okay, so to the sister who just spoke, Sister Gina Tay and everyone else said it does take a village for us to get together and raise these children because they're very unique children. I sit and I listen to them because I'm right across from Sophia as she's checking herself out of school. And so sometimes, yes, Sister Gina Tay has to fuss at them, and I'll text her and I go, ooh, but because I'm listening to them, I can hear what's going on the other side. So if they have to step away, Sister Cherie or Sister Gina Tay has to step away, or we're dealing with modern technology, so somebody gets logged off, they can cut up. So I'm listening to them. And I'll step in and I'll go, hey, what are you supposed to be doing? And things of that nature. So just know, and I say that to say to all the parents, know that, those of us who are home, I'm fortunate because I have my own business. So I'm here. And just know that, in that respect, we have your back. We're here for each other. As far as Soraya is concerned, I know my child. I know my child, and this has been a very special set of circumstances. And there's been a lot of changes with with home life, with me having medical issues and things of that nature. And so she digressed a lot. And it's funny because she heard you all on earlier when we started the meeting, and she said, is that Sister Gina Tay? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I've gotten a lot better with school. Yes, you have. She said, and I'm really working hard. And I said, yes, you are. I had to take a step back and listen to her and not be the drill sergeant, but listen to her to assess what her needs are as a mommy and to really pay attention to what she needed and what she needs from me as her mom. And that's helped our relationship. It's educationally, and I think it's gotten us a lot closer. um I can't go into it all, but we've had to, over the past couple of years, work to get to know one another all over again. And because of my medical issues. But with that, it just required patience on my part. And so I'll say that to the parents: be patient with yourself and be patient with the children.
Absolutely.
Because it's difficult for them to be in a homeschool program, and while all their other peers and their family members, they're in school and now they're homeschooled. So it's a different environment, and they're not, and it's faith-based, and they don't get to do the things that, or get away with some of the things that they would probably get away with, or do some of the things that they would normally want to do, or things of that nature. So it's a learning curve for them too. But just be patient, but be patient with yourself, because if you are not patient with yourself as parents, then you're going to crash, and it's going to be really an unnecessary burden on yourself. So cut yourself some slack first. And as the minister always tells us after class, do something good for yourself.
That's right.
And that will help you as well. So, I'm still learning, and it's an interesting journey with them. But I'm very grateful to Sister Gina Tay, Sister Rhonda, Sister Cherie, because you all know how this whole thing started. My children were rebellious without a cause, but they love school. And
I want to say it, and here's the thing about stepping stones, where, I'm sorry, not to be rude, not to be dusting my shoulder off or anything like that, because it's not me. It's a lot in the energy that is bought in the circle. We purposely, intentionally, as instructors, try to study each one of our students and try to come at them in a way that will help them to grow in an educational way. With Sister Soraya, I know I can't call Sister Soraya out. How do I know that? Because I've learned to watch her as I call her out. So instead of calling Sister Soraya out, like some students like to say, for instance, Najee, what you doing? Instead of me doing that with Sister Soraya, I will text her mom, or I will call Sister Yasina, because I know that Sister Soraya does not handle it well. And I don't mean handle it well like breaking down or whatever, but I know how she deals with things versus other students. I know that with brother um, brother Amir, I understand that with him, I'm gonna have to let him vent a little before we can move on with the lesson. So, and I know with brother Amir L, I'm gonna conversate with him a lot in the chat box. It's something intentional that we learn here as instructors is how to successfully communicate with your child. That's what we desire to do because every child isn't the same. We cannot put all the students in one square box. They won't fit. I'm sorry, Sister Yasina. I just had to say that.
No, you're right. And because you've taken, you'll text me or call me, I'll just go into her room and I'll look at her. She go, you got a call? Mm-hmm. Can you please get back on, can you please turn your camera back on? And so it is a lot better because, I know her. So with two girls, I know their
Totally
personality.
opposite of one another.
Oh, it's like night and day.
Night
it's
and
like
day.
North Pole and South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
Soraya's sensitive and Sophia is, yeah. Sophia is a different child. I listened to too much Tupac when I was pregnant with her, but but because you all do study the children, and I can attest to this because I listen to you all. I go back and forth because you do study the children and you do know their mindset. You do take the time to strategically and uniquely handle all of them, and it does work. It really, really does work. And a testament of that is when you may get logged off and one of them gets a little rowdy, you will have another one say, hey, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Don't go get you're not supposed to go get your tablet. She'll be back. It's not Thursday. It's not Friday. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's not recess. So it's in them.
Right.
Just parents just know that it's in them. And they do their work. They are in there. They are learning, and their children. So when they're home with mom and dad, it's no, I don't have homework.
Right.
Well, so I go, oh, I'm gonna check Google Classroom. Well, you know what, Mom? I think I do have something. I think, sister, so the Google Classroom is your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Google Classroom is your best friend because Google Classroom, the way that it's structured, if you haven't been on there, I pray you have, but if you haven't, it has a to-do list. If you check it on the laptop versus the desktop, you're going to see something different. If you have a desktop, look at your desktop, because on the desktop, when you go into Google Classroom, it will tell you for each category, each subject, over to the side on the left. If everything is complete, it says woohoo, and that means they have nothing. Or it gives you a list of things that they have to complete. And it saves a lot of time rather than having to scroll down that long list. So I would say do that as well. But I have to go because I have another meeting. But thank you all so much, Sister Gina Tay. When do they go back to school? Because my children keep telling their father that they don't go back until January 15th.
What? No, ma'am. They come back Wednesday.
Said that, and we've been debating this all day. And I said, well, I'll be with your instructresses later on today. And Sarah says, I bet she tells you January 15th. So thank you.
She would have lost that bet.
All right, may Allah bless you all.
May Allah bless you too. I know many of us have to go. Sister Peggy had her hand up, and Sister Marilyn, I think, had hers, and then we'll go ahead and go. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My question was answered. about when school begins. Thank you.
Oh, praise be to Allah. Okay, Sister Marilyn, a new parent. This is our new parent.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. I don't have anything. I just want to say how grateful I am for the teachers, the online schooling, because my journey of homeschooling my children have been on and off. And since my children are a little older now, teenagers, it got a little difficult for me. So the journey has been beautiful so far. I was listening to Sister Shaniqua, how she was saying about Sister Yamina. Sister Ariana is the same way. She's quiet, very shy, but she does have her tendencies to I have issues sometimes with her with not being on the computer. So I have to tell her get back on the computer. But other than that, this journey so far has been really a blessing for myself because I got 2 younger children, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. So it's a little difficult, but it's also helped me to be able to know that for sure my children are getting the proper education that they need. And my children enjoy it, especially the older 2. All right, Sister Young does too. But she's young, so she know how they how they are. Their attention span.
Yes, yes.
So, but my older 2 though, they enjoy it. And that's just why I just want to say I'm so grateful for being able to be a part of this online homeschooling and just seeing how progressive, my older children have been learning and growing in what they have been learning so far. So I appreciate it and I thank you guys so much. Each and every one of you guys. Assalamu alaikum.
Like salam, all praises due to Allah, Sister Marilyn. You know that brother, that brother Lamarcus, that's my heart right there. I remember being his first grade teacher in MUI Dallas, you know, so him
yes,
and Jabril competing against who can read the fastest.
He's still that way though. He still is that way.
Very good. All praises due to Allah. It was such a blessing to have another little brother who was so fascinated with reading like Jabril was. So that was a blessing to me. But anyway, I want to thank all of you so much for signing in. And I apologize we went over so long, but y'all know how real love is. Real love will have you just hanging on, right? Just to feel a little more love. So all praises to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Tiffany.
Walaikum salam.
So I will end in prayer. If you all would please stand for prayer. And if you had a question or concern that you didn't want to address in front of everybody and you want to reach out to me separately, please know that you always can. And may Allah bless you all. We thank y'all so much for giving us an opportunity. And we pray that we never offend anyone. That is not our intention. Our intention is to do a better job with helping you to educate your beautiful, beautiful children. Position of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the world, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Master of the day of requital in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve. Thee alone do we seek for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favor, not the path upon whom wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Amen. If no one has told you they love you today, we absolutely do. Assalamu alaikum.
Ameen and
Love you too.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Happy New Year. Good night, everyone. Love you, Sister Brenda.
Love you too. And y'all too.
Have a good night. Hi, Sister Brenda.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.